Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Coming to you almost live from the Blood Coven near Quajimu in Gur, it's the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 166. It is September 1st, and I'm your host, Bill Costello. With me,
all the way from pages 236 to 261 of the core rulebook, it's Joshua Alt.
I just have this image of you climbing out of the book.
I'm like the ring girl, but probably be a little bit scarier.
Whoa, that's an image I didn't need. Oh, lordy, we're back. We had to take last weekend off. It was not a great weekend.
Wasn't the best.
No, it was, just swamped with work, and where I work, the summer is a very, very busy place because weather and aerial atmospheric conditions and everything. Just it's nice for rockets to go boom, and making rockets go boom is, I don't know, it's kind of a rather time intensive process. So yeah, there was a lot of things going on, as well as organizational changes at work, and yeah, a lot of fun. If you call that stuff fun. I want to send a big apology out to Charles Fox Soul Chuckles. I haven't gotten the prize off to him yet, but I will. I swear to God, I'm going to verify hopefully today or tomorrow, I will verify his address and get it off to him. But I suck at this. But we all know that. So
it's something we've come to expect. It's the charm.
It is.
Of the podcast, right?
Yeah, part of the charm is my inability to do anything of value. So on today's show, what we're going to do is, like we said last show, is we're going to slightly deeper dive into Path to Glory. In this case, what we did was we each built 2 Path to Glory lists, 1,000-point lists to get started. And what we're going to do is go over the list and why we put those units in there. And I'm sure Josh will have a much better reason for taking his units. I have built lists that will probably not win terribly many games, but they're decent enough that you'll have a lot of fun playing them.
Yeah.
And, that's the idea of Path to Glory.
I leaned into flavor too.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a theme and I ran with it. And so that's what I did. We'll talk a little bit more in detail about how this Path to Glory allows you to do that. But yeah, I think it was a really great creative space for both of us. And actually, it was almost therapeutic. It was nice and easy to do this. We'll go over that in more detail later. But yeah, it was a really fun exercise, and I think y'all will have some fun with the list we bring.
Yep, so that's the plan. But in terms of Warhammer news, there was a preview show at Nova. It was really so much better than their other preview shows. I mean, not horrendously, but this time you had Adam Troke, hosting it and sitting down with some of the people involved with the different game systems. And then, of course, the obligatory video, because you can't do a thing without video.
Oh, of course.
Which is true, though, because media consumption is how people are impacted to buy things. But the big splash for us, AoS, was Stormcaster coming.
Yep. And
oh my flippin' God. Did you watch the preview?
I caught little snippets of it, and then I mostly just looked at the pictures.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the models coming out for Stormcast look great. One thing I thought was interesting, remember when the Tyranids won?
Yeah.
And they here's all their cool models, and it took forever for Space Marine stuff to come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not doing that with AoS.
No.
It was Skaven won. 2 weeks later, here's the Stormcast, though.
Yeah.
And
they learned, and they had both of them ready to go, I'm sure.
Oh, 100% they did. And I thought that was actually really great. I mean, of course, it also sells the product too, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be here's all the Skaven stuff, and Stormcast don't get jack for who knows how long.
2.5 months. Although I am surprised that they continued with this 10th edition idea of a long dry spell to let the starter box really hit home.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's taken this long to get to the Skaven. It sort of boggles my mind that I'm sure they have market research that says this is the correct time frame. Mm-hmm. I don't doubt that they did their homework. I don't think they're just spitballing stuff.
Yeah.
But it just, at a personal level, I don't know how to analyze it. I'm not, big into retail. So I would have thought you would have struck while the iron was hot. But I guess this way you get to build up that FOMO again.
True.
So
True. And I mean, I really like the sort of almost trickling of it out in a way. I mean, it's two big announcements, one for each faction, right? But because you're not leaving the other, like, the Stormcast fans, you know, in the lurch for too long. And everyone wants to know. I mean, when they're playing the game, what am I going to be going up against if I don't like Stormcast and someone's playing Stormcast, you know? So you get to actually get a taste of what's to come, even for your games if you're not playing. Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was done really well. I like that it was. I mean, I was surprised that it came like so quickly afterwards. Oh yeah. But to me, that kind of indicates they're going to drop books and models at the same time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or maybe like spaced out by a couple weeks. You know. Yeah. That way, you know, they can get the train rolling because they have a whole bunch of armies they got to put stuff out for. Yeah. So let's see. I'm also thinking that they're learning that if you put everything out at once, you have wallet shock. Yeah. And if you space it out just a little bit better, it's easier to justify. Yep. Oh, I could, you know, just buy this box of Giselles and then, oh, look, the Rat God thing is here. I'm going to, oh, yeah, I can afford, yeah. Rather than they're all here and I want them all. I can't do that. I'm pissed. So the models that they spoiled, Iridan the Witness, oh, my God. That model is off the hook. Oh, yeah. There is a huge bird. And, I mean, it almost swallows the guy riding on top because of the paint job. Yep. He's so dark, he has no contrast against the bird. But, oh, God, is that a gorgeous-looking model. And it is a dual kit, from what I understand. You can build just the regular guy as well. Yeah, the Lord Vigilant on Morgriff. Yep. And that model looks sick, too. I mean, yeah, it's basically the same model. The bird changes just a tad. Actually, no, he doesn't. The wings are in the same spot. They just painted him different. Well, the head turns. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. And the model on top gets the spear instead of the spear. Really cool axe. Yeah. I mean, the war javelin. That's a little night haunty. Oh, you know, maybe that's why it's speaking to you so much, Bill. On Iridan. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. He just looks so good. Both of those models are off the hook. I think highlighted by the bird. I think that's the real star. Yeah. There's a new Lord Celestant because we don't have enough. You know, there's certainly a drought of good Lord Celestant models, but this one is really good. I love the way you have the option. The one that they highlight is the sword and the hammer. I'm here to mess you up. Right. And I love the different head options because you just got a ton of different options. The head with the kind of wacko hair, and then the head with the long hair, and the helmeted head, which actually for once doesn't look terrible. Yeah, she's a great looking model. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the options: hammer, sword, hammer, shield, grand hammer. Grand hammer. Yeah. I can imagine that her wielding that grand hammer is probably close to Vegematic time. Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope. I think she get a rules update there. Yeah. Lord Relictor, if you like your 40k chaplains, here he is. Yeah, you could if you want a special 40k chaplain, just pick up this model. You know, that's the whole thing is you look at this model and you can tell, you can leave that backpack off and put a 40k backpack on there. And even if I would almost keep the hammer because it's just so good looking. But yeah, that cowled skull head it just screams. Blood Angel, Dark Angel. Oh my God. So good. Oh yeah, for sure. And if you tell me that they didn't think about that when they were putting this together, when you look at this guy's body, and yes, I mean, he's a Sigmar model. There's a lot of iconography that's not there. That's just not there. The only thing I can see really that separates him is the tabard with the twin-tailed comet. Yeah, and then Sigmar on the backpack, which you could easily rectify that with a little bit of shaving. You're going to take that off anyway because you're going to give him a jump pack. Unless you wanted to keep that really cool looking. It is cool. It is cool. And you could fill that in and freehand it. So a little bit of UV resin and all that stuff. Yeah. That Sigmar is gone and you put whatever on there. So it's a great model. And it's, double, triple, quadruple duty. Yep. Oh, love it. The Lord Terminos, who is a new guy. Yeah, he was in the box. He's in the box, but now he's out on his own. And, of course, he is one of the, what do they call them? The relic ruination chamber guys? Yeah. So, just, wow. I like
the head option, because of that tattoo / mark he has on the top, I think the helmet is a little too rounded off for a Stormcast. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks kind of
like
maybe too
head.
small, kind of set in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look so much like that much bigger than the unhelmeted head.
Yeah.
In a sense that it doesn't look like it would be that guy with the helmet on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue. I think it needs to be a little bigger. But the option to have axe or sword.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the axe or sword. Oh my God. And both of them are.
Yeah, those are pretty great. Those are pretty great. Reclusians are now dropping in their own box. When you got the 2 weapon options.
Yep.
You got your axe and shield, or you got the maces.
Yes.
So that's going to be fun.
And it comes with 2 of their little people that remind them they're human.
Yeah.
Ish. I forgot what they call those guys. Oh gosh.
Memorians, that's what they are.
Memorians, thank you. Yeah.
And then
and they're tokens. So you don't have to build them.
No.
You just put cardboard out there. So, okay.
And for those who really like their bird horses, Stormstrike Paladors as well. I mean, what a glow up, though, you know?
They really, gone are the chocobos.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in a way is sad. I kind of like the chocobos, but ho-hum.
Yeah, I mean, these are leaner, they're meaner.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole thing with Stormstrike armor, right?
Yeah.
Taken away from that super blocky crap that they used to wear.
Yeah.
And I like these. They look clean.
Yeah, they look like a really good purpose-built cavalry unit. And the poses on everybody they're remarkably similar, but they're distinct.
Yeah.
So it gives you a nice cohesive feel to the unit, and they are very definitely Stormcast cavalry, which is so nice.
Yeah.
So nice, especially since we lost the ballista. I'm just kidding about that. Just kidding. So, yeah, I really love the look. Love the look. And then last but not least, the Stormreach portal.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh, gosh. What a nice little terrain piece, as well as a fix for, they called out that it was going to give them some movement shenanigans, which when you play Stormcast, you understand that great, strong, powerful, fun units that have a hard time moving around the board and doing anything of value.
Yeah.
Once they're set. And with few exceptions, you have some very good moving units, but can you always fit them into your list? It's but here's the answer to that, and it is a gorgeous terrain piece.
It really is. It really is. And Stormcast were kind of lacking for that, weren't they? They didn't have a
faction terrain piece.
Yeah, like a something that just stood out, like that. They did have their endless spells, but I think that, and from the look of it, I mean, this is just clean and it's just screams Stormcast,
It does, yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked for it. Then, of course, the Battle Tome announcement.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. And then the roadmap at the end.
Yes.
So, still to come in 2024, they are calling out specifically Skaven, Stormcast Eternals, and Slaves to Darkness Battle Tomes, though they don't specifically state anything else. And then in 2025, all factions are going to be updated. There's a generic or 2 destruction spearheads, it looks like, and then we're gonna get announcements for death pretty soon. So I think we've got an idea of where we're going this year.
And I do kind of like the way they're kind of flipping the script a little bit for this edition and letting destruction and death go first.
Yeah.
I guess Auric, War Clans, and Gloomspite getting spearheads, new kind of spearheads, great, good on ya. Having death be next up on the chopping block or on the batting order, really nice. But they call out army boxes and spearheads. Army boxes scares me because that generally means a bunch of new models and egads. I mean, I know this is how they make money, but damn, do we need new models?
Well, that's sort of like what they've been doing in 40K, right? Because they'll release like the combat patrol, but then you have like 2 boxes that increase in size as you go, and so they'll probably have limited runs of those ones. But I think that that's something that people are looking for. Like if they want to get into an army, they're like, I want a fully functioning army right out of the box.
Yeah, and it's you get that, you have to capitalize on that FOMO mentality. So it just makes sense. It really does.
I mean, I think it's one of the smartest things Parabellum has done.
Yeah,
is how they have a 2,000 point army in a box for you.
Yes.
And like it was like what, $400 for the old Dom 2,000 point army, and it's just like, that is a screaming deal.
It is. It's ridiculously good. All the all the big 2,000 point army boxes. And what I like is they're not afraid to change the contents.
Oh yeah, that's so great. It's so great.
There's just since I've been following Conquest and playing it, they've changed the contents of those boxes 2 times.
Yep.
Just because, hey, now these models are available and we think they're more core to the army than those guys. So we're, boom, here's the replacements. I love that mentality of give them what they need, not what we have an overstock of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. I truly do. GW could, take a look at some of these other companies and what they're doing and learn from it, because damn it, you need help. You need help. Yeah, I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. It's just it could be better. These army boxes could be a lot more fun, but they do their best. So whatever. All right. So that was at the reveal show. They also talked a lot about some 40K stuff, some Horus Heresy stuff coming down the pike, and they had a really nice interview with the 30K guy.
Yeah,
talking about the design mentality behind where they're going. Mm-hmm. You're going to see Dark Mechanicum, and after we've fleshed out all of the Space Marine stuff and all of the Adeptus Astartes stuff, and gotten a good hit on the Dark Mechanicum or the Mechanicum, then we'll start looking at adding factions to this.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that they're taking a very measured, I mean, it sucks if you want other things, but, let's get everything out there in plastic, and people have just an amazing amount of choice. People are knocking 30K because, well, you only have 2 choices. Well, but within those 2 overarching choices, you have a crap ton of variability. So it's not, I don't think it's that limited. It's the same thing with Legions Imperialis. Now that they're really fleshing out those lines, you can really customize an army.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, the Mechanicum drops, though, for 30K is just like some of the most beautiful models. I mean, they look so cool.
Somebody worked overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they really did. I love my 1950s space robots from outer space.
God, yes.
And the ones they did for that gives it like a throwback feel from what you see in 40K. Like, yeah. I'd almost rather use the 30K models in 40K if they're the same base size.
Yeah. I mean, they have so much character to them.
Yep.
They're beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah. And pre-order yesterday, you got a lot of the Mechanicum stuff on pre-order, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they're so cool looking. They're so freaking cool looking. And they'd be so fun to paint and almost like easy to paint in a way, depending on what color scheme you're going for.
Yeah.
But they would take weathering so freaking well. Yes. Like, oh my gosh. The ones that they show, for the pre-order, right? They're too clean for me.
Yeah. It's, heavy metal style. It's just too clean, too nice. But that's not going to last as soon as they get out in the wild.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm sure we'll be seeing some really good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. They mentioned the new Kill Team again. Mm-hmm. Kill Team's getting a 3.0, which I can't really. The way they've been flexing 2.0 has been really, really good, and they've been keeping it marginally even. Everyone knows where the outliers are, and you either avoid or buy in, whatever. But honestly, I love the idea that they're doing co-op Kill Team now.
Oh, yeah.
I just, thank you for figuring out that to have a miniatures game AI is not really all that difficult. Mm-hmm. And if you look out in the greater world, people have been doing it for ages and doing it really well.
Yeah.
And so you just don't have to. I mean, in the span of that video, the guy covered the AI for the opponents and did it pretty well. Mm-hmm. And it was easy. I'm like, people are going to just eat that up.
Yep.
And you're going to bring in, this dovetails into so much other stuff, this show. Mm-hmm. You're going to bring in the Stargrave players. You're going to bring in the 5 Parsecs players that want to play with their GW models that they have, but they want to play co-op missions. They want to play a linked set of narrative missions. So all of a sudden, here's your reach out to those guys. And I'm sorry, Osprey, but GW is coming to town. It could be bad.
I mean, I'm saying narrative Kill Team with co-op is just, it's going to bring a lot more folks in. A lot more folks in, because I know some people who are really interested in the concept of Kill Team but don't want to play it in the PvP sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this would be great if we could do like blah, blah storyline kind of thing, you know? Because everyone likes, you know, like the spec ops, you know, like movies and stuff, you know, where like you got the elite force going in. I mean, how many Expendables do we have now? I mean, right?
Oh, I don't know how many of them are still alive.
They're still kicking. They keep adding more and more as they go.
I know. Isn't it weird? Ugh. Oh, Lord. They keep getting all the old action heroes. And
right.
Okay. So that kind of covers. Well, I did want to have one throw out because you're going to hear about it later. But Parabellum, of course, announced the city-states, Clockwork Hoplites, and the rest of those units. And I've already got 2 boxes of each on order, as well as the hero.
It looks so good.
Oh, they are so good. Crazy good. And Corvus Belli, who's known for Infinity, which is an amazingly good skirmish game that I have avoided for many, many years just because of the metal models. And I just didn't want to buy into another skirmish game. They released... yeah, they know how to get me. They released their fantasy version, which is called Stormcrow. Oh my God. It's actually called Warcrow, not Stormcrow. I'm Stormcast eternally. Poor Corvus Belli. It's called Warcrow, and it has its roots in Infinity, but they didn't lock themselves into that. Really well done rule set. And one thing that just boggles my mind, and why Corvus Belli does that, I don't know. But they have a front to back movement system. So when you're moving your models, you measure from the front and place the base at the back. So you actually add the distance of your base every time. So when you see a 3-inch move, it's a 4-inch move. Or, I'm sorry, they're strides, because they don't want to convert from millimeters to inches. I love it. They're awesome. I love Corvus Belli. They've always been such a great, fun company. And they stumble now and then, but usually they look at it and laugh and go, look at what we did. That was dumb.
I've been Infinity curious for a long time now. And when I was at Slice and Dice on Friday, when you decided to ignore me while you were there.
What? I didn't know you were there. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was there for Keneal's like little birthday get-together.
Oh, shit. God damn. And we sat there. Or no, we just came in and left, didn't we?
Pam sat there and drank a soda, and then you were at the kiosk.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I wonder if he's going to notice. But I was over there waiting for Keneal, and I was just like looking through the Infinity stuff, and I'm like, don't do it. Do it, but don't do it.
It's such a great range. And, you know, once those models are built and painted, they're absolutely gorgeous. But honestly, Infinity is a great game. I played it a couple of times with other people's stuff, and it is a truly fun game. I did not want to get into that level of a skirmish game. And I think they kind of, Stormcrow, you can teach somebody Stormcrow.
Warcrow.
Oh, God. Warcrow.
Warcrows are cool.
In about 20 minutes to get the basics of the gameplay down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's once you understand their concept of how things work with special dice and all that stuff and how switches and triggers work and combat. But one of the great things about combat in that game is when you're defending, you can do hits to the other guy. It's baked into the combat roll. Yeah. So you eliminate that. I'm just going to send my 2-point mouse to tie up your 50-point huge robot guy. And, I win that turn. No, sorry. You're just going to get obliterated. And dude's going to sit there and go, why did you do that? So as he pounds your face in. So yeah, I love the ranges. I have wanted to do an LF army for so long.
Yeah.
But no, I will not. I'm buying into Warcrow. I've already told them everything that comes out. The way they've done the history and the lore, you got dwarves, you got elves, you got humans, you got a couple of versions of humans, you have orcs, which I want to play. All the tropes are there without being too tropey, and it's just fun. I love the effort they've put into it. Love it.
Are the models still metal?
No, they are. It looks like silocast resin.
Okay.
So it's that nice, durable, dark resin.
Okay.
So they look very nice. I've seen some people having issue with how a couple of models go together, but it's a game. Build around it. Little green stuff here and there. You'll be fine. So
yeah, I'm looking at the models right now. Oh, what's this? They have a personality test to determine.
Oh God.
Which faction you should be in.
Oh my God, I have to take that.
Hold on. We're doing this live.
Oh no.
Okay, let's see. Where's the personality test? Come on. Okay, here it is. So yeah, the 6 factions. Yeah, the hegemony of Embersig.
Yep.
Northern tribes.
Yep. Those come in the starter box.
The Seanan, the Feudum, Scions of Yaldabroth, and Mount Haven. So let's go to the test. All right. Let's see. Start. What is your spirit animal? Bill.
Wolf.
Lion, bear, deer, horse, vulture, or ant?
Oh, what? Lion, deer,
bear, horse, vulture, or ant?
God dang it. I don't like those choices. Bear.
Bear. Which phrase about magic do you agree with the most? One more tool to use, but it's not that big a deal either. Interesting, but I don't trust it completely. The boundaries of magic must be respected. There is no such thing as magic. Magic is the essence of all things, or magic is part of a much more complex system, a work of engineering.
The first one.
One more tool to use?
One more tool, yeah.
How do you act in case of danger? Analyzing the situation, proceeding as I have been taught. Without thinking, obeying my instincts. As fast as an arrow. As I had planned. I am a cautious person and nothing catches me by surprise.
Yeah, right.
Safe and confident. Fearless, I know my capabilities.
Without thinking.
Well, what word would best describe you? Methodical, visceral, detached, an optimist, a visionary, or meticulous?
Visceral.
Visceral. Which weapon would you prefer to carry?
No.
Gun, claws. The claw actually looks like a kusarigama.
Ooh.
Bow, sword, knowledge, or axe?
Bow.
Bow?
Yeah.
Okay. Always rolling hunters, huh?
Yeah.
In which place would you like to live? The city, coastal area, in the wild, medieval town, castle, or underground?
In the wild.
In the wild. All right. Which personality attribute do you value most in a person? Liability. That's a lawyer word.
Wow.
Honesty, kindness, loyalty, commitment, or patience?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. What is the most important thing in times of war? To serve my community, occupying territories, protect the environment, preserve honor, discover the truth, or honor your ancestors?
Preserve honor.
All right. What is your ideal profession? Soldier, hunter, explorer, falconer, scientist, or craftsman?
Honestly, hunter.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have thought about that when you picked the bow. You disembark in Hawthorne Point. What is your first visit? The blacksmith, the tattoo artist, the port storehouses, the Temple of Lasna, the alchemist, or the physician?
The restroom? Is that on there?
No.
Okay. Maybe the blacksmith. What were they again?
Blacksmith, tattoo artist,
No.
the port storehouses,
Maybe.
Temple of Lasna, alchemist, or physician?
Storehouse.
Getting your booze.
Yeah.
We are processing your answers. You undoubtedly belong, Bill, to the Northern Tribe.
Yes! That's kind of what I thought it was going to end up. And I don't know why I always end up, I'm Portuguese.
With the Nordic ones?
I'm Middle European. I have no ties to Scandinavia in any way, shape, or form. And yet I somehow am always drawn to those Viking/Nordic things. Speaking of which, big shout out to our GW store manager who's out with the COVIDs. Hope you get better, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm doing the test right now, too. So you yap about something while I do this.
Okay. But Warcrow, like I said, I'm not going to say it's simple, but as far as compared to Infinity, I think they have toned it down just a little bit. You still have, your movement is still doubled, and you move in straight lines, which may screw up some people, but not a big deal. You usually end up doing it anyway, and that's why they give you a split movement figure. To get into combat, your idea is you charge, which is almost always 3 times your movement, but it is a long action, so you can only do one action. You can do 1 long or 2 short actions in your turn. And the long action, the nice part about charging is not only do you get into base-to-base contact, if you get into base-to-base contact, but you can re-roll all your hit dice on the attack. Mm-hmm. So if you charge a big unit in and then you whiff the roll, you have a nice way of getting around it. But you also have an assault move to get into combat, which doesn't give you the re-roll, but it also allows you to move and then combat. So lots of different little things. Magic is so nice. All the units have cards now. Mm-hmm. And if you have a spellcaster, their spells are right there on their card. It's not like they have this huge list or anything. Spellcasters come with a couple of spells and all about how to use them and what effect they have. And a lot of times spells only deal out states. They will give you like the vulnerable state, or a friendly buff spell might give them the terrifying state, which basically means enemies have to attempt to charge them, not just flat out charge them.
Okay.
So, and there's a mechanic where as you're casting spells, you're earning these, if things don't go super well, you're earning these basic spiritual fatigue tokens. And then at the beginning of every turn, for all your spellcasters, you roll off to see what happens because of your spiritual fatigue, and you may end up not being able to cast spells anymore.
Oh, wow.
So they really control magic quite a bit, which is, kind of good because they don't want it to take over the game. So the box set comes with the 2 armies. It's called the Winds of the North, so you got to figure you're getting the Embersig and the Northern Tribes. And so far in the initial release wave, you've had the rule book, the starter box, which incidentally comes with everything you need to play. The map, a little terrain to put out on your table, and the typical Corvus Belli papercraft terrain, or hard cardboard tab fit terrain, which is really nice because it's usually double-sided and you can pick what kind of building you want. It's really nice, as well as all the tokens, tools, measuring dice, you name it. Everything's in the box. You don't have to go out and buy anything else, which is the definition of a good starter box.
Oh, for sure.
And
like that's a true starter box.
Yeah,
like a freaking, oh my god, Crisis Protocol.
Right, exactly.
That starter box is
you need
done.
Play. Yep.
And incidentally, the models and rules in there are so good that even other people will buy them. I got the Hegemony of Embersig.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, when the leader is a dude with a pistol and an eye patch, and I'm like,
I'm in.
Look at some of the other ones too. The Cyanin, whatever.
I also like the Feudum. Those are just the human knights.
Yeah,
all plate wearing. Yeah, I like those. The dwarves all of them look baller.
I'm assuming those are the Mount Haven. Yeah.
Mount Haven are dwarves.
Yeah, the anvil of the fire over it.
Yep.
Under a mountain.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they all look very cool.
Yeah.
And, you're looking at a grand total of maybe 15 models in your company. So
really?
We're not talking about huge numbers here. It's, bigger than Stargrave, bigger than 5 parsecs and all that stuff. But still, it's got a very well-tested rule set behind it. I like it a lot, and I'm in.
Ooh, I don't know. The Scions of Yaldabroth look pretty sick.
Oh, yeah.
I like Cthulhu-esque monstrosity.
Yeah.
Like this one here, the front.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man. Totally whacked out. Anyway, let's take a quick break because breakfast is ready.
All right.
Stormcaster, cool.
So we are looking into the abyss. I mean, as we're talking about all this great new miniatures and all these new stuff coming out from all these companies and GW giving us Skaven and Stormcast, and we're literally being very hypocritical because we know that for the next couple of weeks, we are not AoSing.
Because 4 days away. 4 days from the launch of Space Marine 2. The hype is big. I think from everything I've seen, the hype is well supported. If you like Space Marine 1, and I love Space Marine 1.
And how could
it's
you
infinitely
not?
better.
Yeah.
It's infinitely better. Co-op mode, holy
that's just dumb. That is just, now you're going to have 2 of them out there. That's just not fair to the bad guys.
Yep.
But it will be fair because I guarantee you it'll be a slaughter fest.
I can't wait to punch a Carnifex to death.
Oh, God.
You can do it. Apparently you can do it in the from what they've described. So that is a goal of mine.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good goal.
Yeah, so it's Space Marine 2, Space Mariner. It's gonna be so much.
Whether or not you like 40K or what have you, games have skins. And if it's a good game underneath, it will transcend the IP that it's tacked onto. And Space Marine 1 was a phenomenally good, fun game, regardless of what it was wrapped in. You could have made it Princess Peach, and it would have still been a good game, as long as you don't mind Princess Peach having a chainsword.
That'd be pretty sick.
It wouldn't, though. God, Mario. Anyway,
Mario's dead, and now she's seeking vengeance.
with grenades and chainswords. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the characters are so great. For not being a really like, I don't want to say like high end product, but like not like a major like game designer game.
Right.
It was done so well. The voice acting was amazing. Getting to really like appreciate the characters, the freaking twist. And if you haven't played Space Marine 1, spoilers. And if you haven't played it, that's your fault now.
Wait, what? There was a twist? Oh.
Yeah, the twist from the orcs to the chaos.
Yeah.
And that last fight when you're like, you tackle a demon prince off of a freaking tower.
Yeah.
And beat him to death as you fall.
Isn't it awesome?
How freaking
cool
Space Marine is that, right?
It is 100% Space Marine. Oh, God.
That's the kind of Space Marine, like what you do as Titus in the first game is what they actually talk about Space Marines doing. You have 3 dudes roll in and like clean house. It's just crazy how powerful they're actually supposed to be. So I am looking forward to that just expanding so much, all the different like classes and weapon upgrades. Man. And it's
going to be so much fun.
It's going to be so much fun. So yeah, we're not going to be AoSing until the next show, I guess.
I can see a lot of hours are going to be wasted on that. And my only big beef with Space Marine 2 is mistiming the launch so badly. If you had launched it yesterday, you would have captured the Saturday, Sunday, and everybody's off Monday crowd in the United States. But instead, you wait until Thursday, I think, or Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday because I remember that because I get paid on the 6th, and I was like, God, if it was one more day.
Yeah, and it's just I mean, I get you're hitting the next weekend, but you had a 3-day weekend you could have played with. Yep. Guys, look at the calendar before you set a release date.
Yeah, I mean, that should have been the North American release date. How about that?
Well, it only applies here, but they have been known to do that.
Yeah,
so
it would have been you would have sold so many more units, so to speak, if you had released it this weekend. Like
that initial punch, I think, would have been higher.
Yeah, because now people are going to be like, man, I would have played this over the weekend, but I'm doing other stuff, and then people might forget to purchase it if they haven't reminded themselves or pre-ordered it. So.
And next weekend's just a regular weekend. You got other things you need to do. At least this one, you had a free day off.
Right?
Maybe. So, anyway, I want to jump into hobby.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. So I have been building a just absolute junk ton of building and painting terrain for skirmish games. Mm-hmm. Frostgrave, Stargrave, Range of the Shadow Deep, all that stuff. Just having a grand old time, as well as for role-playing campaigns. Just having a grand time, taking a break from everything else, and just knocking out things that have been sitting around for so damn long it hurts. So having a grand time with that. Got a whole bunch of the Dungeons and Lasers stuff. I got the Starship set and the dungeon set. So those are just so much fun. I love Dungeons and Lasers stuff. I hate their sprues. They have this, whoever does design their sprues puts the gates right next to the sprue. There's like millimeters between the sprue and the length of the gate and then the piece itself, which makes it so hard to get clippers into to cut them off cleanly. And you end up just basically a lot of times having to cut sections of the sprue and then clip off the top end of the gate because that's the only where you can get room. Mm-hmm. And then you have to go clean it up completely 100% with the knife. Ugh. Oh, and it's, if you do like I do where you paint all that stuff on the frames, it makes it such a pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. So much cleanup. But still, their stuff is really good and it's reasonably priced and I like them. So that's I did get a new resin printer. World Meat. What did I name that one? Horace? No, Wally. Yeah, I named that one Wally.
Okay.
And so if you penetrate my network here at the house, just look for Wally and see what you want to print. I don't have any resin in it right now, so it won't work. But yeah, this is a big upgrade. This is the Anycubic M5S, which is really nice, 12K resolution. Prints out really nice models. And the benefit to this one is if you put high-speed resin in there, it will print in high-speed mode. So a print that would have taken 2 hours will now take like 35 minutes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, if you're just wanting to knock out a bunch of, miniatures for a game or just tokens for something, boom, that thing will just spit them out.
Yeah, it's real pretty.
Yeah, I like it. The only problem with it is it's bigger than my old one, so it doesn't fit on the shelf anymore. So it has to sit on the desk, on the table. Oh well, first world problem.
This one's a bit more of a diva.
Yeah, it is. It's the star of the show, and you don't have to level it. It's auto leveling.
Oh wow!
It's wireless, so I can just sit at my computer, generate the plate, generate the supports, boom, spit it out. It starts printing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Which is good because this one also has a fan in the internal, and it blows out the smell of the resin. And I guess I'm used to the smell. Mm-hmm. Pam came home from work one afternoon and she's like, "My God, what is on fire?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You don't smell that?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "God, open that freaking window." So I ended up having to put my window vent in to evacuate it. I didn't realize it was that bad, but it was. But anyway, that's really where my hobby was. I built a whole bunch of crew people for Stargrave and crew people for Rangers of the North, or Rangers of the Shadow Deep. I started, I had this great 3D print for, and I'm kind of spoiling one of my lists, but for a Daughters of Cain Hag Queen.
Okay.
So I may have printed out a Hag Queen. I don't know. I would never use it because I only use strictly GW models in my games. But yeah, so there was that. That's really all about all I did because this work has been crazy.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. On my side of thing, I think this is actually an important part of the hobby, is I organized a lot of my stuff. So I've got, and it's not all of the things I ran out of big bins, but I've got 7 of those like giant like crate-like bins with the yellow lids on them.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And so I've got those stacked up nice and neatly. I've got other things that I can, continue to stack on them and then sort around there. But
nice.
I was looking to, there's this thing when you have like so many models, right? And you're not going to I'm not going to be playing this army for the foreseeable future. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
Right? It goes in the bin, nice and protected, in a nice, corner of the room. And there you go.
And it doesn't guilt you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it was nice to get all that sorted. So that was a lot of effort. But,
yeah.
I got a lot of that done. And it's also like nested containers too.
Oh, so
nice.
Like, yes.
Within the crates, I've got, like clear Tupperware, not Tupperware, but clear containers, and have those stacked within just so it's as protected as possible,
Very nice.
So that was more like my model hobby, which, I haven't really engaged in quite some time. Also finished building my Sisay deck for CDH. So I finally got all the little odds and ends that I need. Over time, I'll start like collecting all the super expensive cards, so it's not like proxied as much. But,
sure.
It's not proxied that much, actually, now that I think about it. So built that up, started goldfishing it yesterday without the... I have to imagine this card is the card I want it to be. Like when you have a visual representation of like what you're actually trying to do, it actually helps you process the combos. So, yeah, that's what I did.
Nice. With your absolutely newfound magic obsession.
Newfound, Bill. This is refound.
I know. Refound, yes. Rekindled. I like it. Hey, we're here for gaming.
Yes.
That's all we're here for.
That's what we're here.
So.
Not for a long time, but for a good time.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you want me to start off battle?
Sure.
So no model, well, kind of model games. At my buddy Keneal's birthday, we played the Resident Evil 2 board game. I can't remember Steam something games.
Yeah.
Steam Forged games, yeah.
They are so good.
And he had picked it up used, so a lot of it was like at the beginning just trying to sort through it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and figure it out. But we finally did. He had the core game, the Mr. X expansion, and the 4th Survivor expansion, which is Hunk and Tofu.
Oh boy.
They actually have a little Tofu model in there, and it was inspiring.
Oh boy.
I freaking love Tofu in Resident Evil 2. It can be good in real life. But it was a fun game, man. It was very streamlined.
Nice.
We only got through the first scenario after we got everything sorted before we moved on to other games. But it was pretty easy to pick up. Pistols suck.
Oh, okay.
So how the game works, you have 6 different dice. One is only used for, I think, boss fights. You have 3 dice that are blue and 2 that are red. The 3 blue dice have your evade and your attack icons on there.
Nice.
So when you shoot with a pistol, right? Oh, and sorry, the attack icons are either 1 bullet hole or 2 bullet holes. So it's sort of like hit or crit, right?
Yeah.
So when you're shooting a zombie or shooting anything with a pistol, if you get a hit, it does no damage. It just pushes them back a square.
Oh, wow.
You have to get a crit to do damage.
Did you? Oh.
So, like we found very quickly that it almost mirrors the actual old school Resident Evil 2 game where you sit there plugging away with your pistol and nothing seems to happen.
Nothing.
And so you're like, oh my God, I used an entire clip and it falls over dead, and you're like, huh. And I was like, it actually mimicked the game really well, guys. I mean, it was frustrating to have to, pour that much ammunition.
Sure.
And so we figured out how to game the system. So it's like 3 phases per turn as a character, right? So as a character, you have 4 actions that you can take in your action phase, which is what you start as, right? You can move, open or close a door, pick up an item if you're in the same in the same square. You can trade items, right? You can use items, or you can attack, right? What they did in this game is that it is like AI based, so everything's reactionary, right?
Oh.
So if you shoot an enemy, let's say you hit it and push it back a tile. Well, every other enemy that is on that tile or an adjoining tile that isn't blocked off by a door then moves closer to the person who did the action.
Oh,
right?
no.
Because noise attracts zombies.
Of course. Thank you, Zombicide, for that.
Right. And then after you complete your action phase, then you have what's called the reaction phase, where all the enemies, again, that are on the same or adjoining tiles not blocked off by a door, move. And they always move closer to the turn player.
Oh,
right? So we... there's some cards in there, and after that you have the tension phase where you have this deck that's mostly like all clear in the sense that like nothing crazy happens, but they have yellow and red cards that cause some type of effect.
Oh no.
And like the red one, see on the tiles, right? Because you have to assemble the rooms and stuff. On the tiles, you have these little biohazard symbols.
Oh no.
And you could pull the what is it? I can't remember what the name of the card is, but like if it's a red card, it usually spawns an enemy.
Oh God!
On whoever drew the tension card, it's their tile on the closest whatever, right? It's like, man, this sucks.
It sounds like you get swarmed.
Yeah. So there's a trick to it though. Knowing that they only react if they are on the same or adjoining tile without a door. Just like you might want to do in Resident Evil games, you lure them into rooms and close the doors.
Yes.
Right? So closing doors is a very valuable action in this game. And so at one point, Keneal was making a beeline for the shotgun that was in this one room, but there are 2 zombies right by the door. So he opens the door and then he backs a couple tiles to try and like let them out. And then he draws the tension card and 2 zombies spawn.
Oh, God.
Not right next to him, but like a couple tiles away. And so he essentially kites them into this one room. Closes the door behind him, and it's because of how the adjoining tiles work. As long as we didn't go back down that alleyway, we would not be on an adjoining tile, so they just sat there for the rest of the
time. Oh, good.
We got the shotgun, and that actually cleans house because a hit does 1 damage, a crit does 2 damage.
Oh, nice.
So, and you fairly often roll a hit.
Yeah.
But then you have like an evade mechanic too, where like you can have up to 4 standard sized models on a tile, or a large model, which is sort of like oval based, and 2 standard.
Okay.
Or you can have 1 huge, which is your boss fights, right?
Yeah.
So your ability to dodge is determined based off the size of the enemy or number of enemies, right? And so you have your dodge thing on there too. It was just so fun. Like once we got it set up, it was streamlined, right?
I like it. Steamforge, they do so many great games. So many well thought out, good games. And they're the people that bought Privateer Press. They're the ones that bought, War Machines and Hordes. So, like I said last time, really looking forward to seeing what they do with it and how they approach fixing. I think mostly you have a PR issue with that game in that the old company just turned off so many players.
Yeah.
So, if they can do that, more power to them. I love Steamforged.
Yeah, and then played a couple casual commander games. My landfall deck didn't give me lands for 2 games in a row.
Oh no!
I petered out at 5 lands, and I didn't have all my color combinations. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah. Like I have practiced with this deck so many times, and like this is what it's doing.
You do this to me now,
right?
Oh God!
Yeah,
that's when you just wish you could reshuffle without anybody noticing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or be like that Pokemon player at a tournament recently who, did you hear about that?
Yes.
Oh my God. And it was on video. And when you see it happen, when you actually are able to like see it happen, you're like, that was like obvious.
Yeah, he took no attempt to hide. I was blown away. And I saw it I saw that video clip as part of a different video about cheaters in CCGs at the highest levels where you're looking for major prizes. Some of these, one of the entry tournaments was $25K to the winner.
Yep.
And, God knows when you get to the Magic Championships, you're talking 6 figures.
It's insane.
And it was just amazing to see someone at that level cheating when everyone around you is every bit as good as you, and they will see that. They will not. You're not going to pull. It's not like, oh, it's Noob showing up for his second game. No, you're well past that point when that video was shot. That was bad.
Yeah.
So my battle has consisted of, I did a 5 parsecs from home run through, which was just kind of fun. 5 parsecs is a solo miniatures game. If you don't know, 5 parsecs from home, it's a lot of fun. It's sci-fi, space, procedurally generated missions and maps, and well, you generate the map, and it's just, the tables are fun. It's a really great, interesting thing, and it has a great little co-op system. And before I exposed it to the wife, I wanted to make sure I knew all the intricacies.
Yeah.
So I played a quick run through of the first mission. That was a lot of fun. Started doing the Frostgrave stuff. That was just tons of fun. And then I got in the middle of all of our campaign stuff. I ended up getting a cold, so I was out for a day. Ooh, it was not fun. I'm just glad it wasn't COVID. It was just a cold. And then HeroScape dropped. Forget life after that point, because HeroScape, man, it was HeroScape. It's back. And the 2 sets that came out are just crazy fun, good times.
Yeah.
Oh, just loving it. Absolutely loving it. And teaching it to Pam as we go. And I think this afternoon, we're going to do our first drafted game, because we've been playing the scenarios from the book just to get her up to speed on how it plays. And yeah, we're going to do our first draft. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I have a bunch of stuff from the old days added on to this new stuff. It's going to make for an interesting game.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact I'm going to draft just, willy-nilly. I'm not going to draft like I normally would for, a head-to-head game. Because, she doesn't know she doesn't have the background knowing all of the keywords and how they interact and what works with what and how the synergies really work in that game. And there's a big key in that game of, synergizing. You might have 5 cards. You still only get 3 activations, but if you do it right, you can activate everybody.
Yeah.
So, just, gonna take it easy a little bit and have some fun and get her into it without clubbing the baby seal. So, but that was really all I did. a lot of stuff I'm going to cover in After Dark because it's not applicable to AoS or, what we do here. So let's take a quick break and then we'll jump into lore.
Sounds good.
All right.
And now for something completely different.
Okay, so here we are at the lore, where we're going to talk about a few lists that we made up just for fun and a quick overview of what we were thinking as we built these lists to sort of give you an idea of what we would do, which may or may not be of any value to anyone. So
I think, we have our thoughts afterwards, so we'll really dive in at that point. But we want to present you like one of each Grand Alliance. So we brought just Nighthaunt, Doc, Skaven, and Gitz.
Yeah.
And so I think we came up with some interesting lists. It was a really fun process, and I think we'll opine on that a little bit more later on.
Yeah.
But Bill's going to kick us off with his Nighthaunt list.
My Nighthaunt list, which I neglected to write down the army name, but the name of this list is Ain't Scared? You will be. Yeah, it's just fun. My realm of origin is, of course, Shyish. The faction is Nighthaunt. Go figure. My formation is going to be Deathstalkers. Only reason for Deathstalkers is, let me get to it real quick. Oh, come on. It's on this one. Deathstalkers is friendly Nighthaunt units can use charge abilities even if they used a run or retreat ability in the game turn. In addition, no mortal damage is inflicted on Nighthaunt units by retreat abilities.
Oh.
I liked that one a lot. I kind of thought about getting the healer one, and I kind of thought about the kill the enemy heroes thing, but my problem is with Hunters of the Accursed, pick up to 3 enemy heroes, each within 12 inches of a different friendly Nighthaunt hero. I only have 2 heroes in my list.
Yeah.
So I would be kind of wasting that for the first few games until I was able to buy another hero.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with Deathstalkers, because I think retreat and charge is a really nice, fun ability.
I agree.
So let me cover the units first, because it will not make sense to cover the Arcane Tome if you don't know who's in the list. My particular warlord, yay! Speaking English are hard. My warlord is a Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed. His name is Jerome the Headless.
Ah.
I love him. I am thinking about actually converting up a Headless Horseman.
You might as well.
Just pop the head. You don't have to, just don't put it on there and put it in his other hand, and I think that would just be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
But
and totally like on flavor. Like,
yeah,
so great.
Yeah. So throw a few pumpkins here and there and boom, I've got a story.
There you go.
So because he is cavalry and he is a cavalry leader and synergizes well with cavalry, go figure, I have a unit of Dreadblade Harrows as well as a unit of Hex Wraiths. So in my mind, the Dreadblades are out there to do what Dreadblades do, which is be Vegematics and kill things at a high rate of speed. And with the buffs from the boss, my warlord, they'll be really cracking.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to do some work, even though there's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
Again, I kind of wanted to take the Healy ability, but it just didn't work well for me. So, but I have other things to take care of that. And of course, Hex Wraiths are just flat out good now.
Yeah.
And they're all arounders and they can go sneak an objective because of their speed and their ability to hit.
Yeah.
And then with the built-in retreat and charge, it magnifies their capability. Same thing with Dreadblade Heroes, being able to retreat and charge. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Right.
My next hero is the Guardian of Souls. And he is there simply because he might not be the best choice.
Yeah.
But he's the best in my case because he has that ability to add 1 to wound rolls for all Nighthaunt units within 12.
Yeah.
He's not tied to specific units. And then I sort of cheesed out because I went with 10 chain rasps to sit on an objective. I know Craven Throne Guard aren't good, but I put a unit of 5 in there anyway just to have some shooting.
Yeah.
And, once a couple times per game, I'm going to be able to pick them up and drop them somewhere else.
Okay.
So maybe I can get some use out of them. If not, they'll sit on an objective and be control points. And then after that, I took the obligatory, at least for me, Bladegeist Revenants. I love those models, even though they're spindly as hell. And they are tantamount to useless. But they also have, if the unit charges this turn, add 1 to the attack characteristics of this unit's melee weapons for the rest of the turn.
Not bad.
So you go from 2 to 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, rend 1 damage, with crit being auto wound. It's not a Vegematic unit. It's not like, oh, look, these guys are going to do everything. But I have a feeling that as these guys, I will probably, unless something crazy happens, they will probably be a favored unit. So I will be able to put a couple of nice buffs on them from the army table, once they become aspiring.
Yeah.
They'll start to get a little bit better. And I think I can actually end up making them a Vegematic unit. So in terms of what do I have as far as my Arcane Tome goes, since I only have a Wizard 1 and Night Haunt, no priests, sorry. I actually am rather limited, and I don't think I'm going to be focusing a lot on the magic.
Okay.
It just doesn't seem to work for Night Haunt. You can do it, but not with this particular list, and I didn't want to go that way. I have these guys, my background ideas for these guys is a lot more vengeance oriented.
Okay.
Because the boss wants his head, reattached. So what I ended up going with for spells on him was the Spirit Drain. Again, I know it's not the best choice, but I like the spell because Spirit Drain is casting value of 7, goes off in the hero phase. Pick a friendly Night Haunt wizard to cast this spell. Pick a visible enemy within 18 inches to be the target. Casting roll, blah, blah, blah. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the target unit. For each 5 up, do 1 mortal damage. It could come in handy. I mean, there's probably, I think, perhaps the Spectral Lure, which return a number of slain models to the target unit with a combined health characteristic of up to a D6. My problem there is the units that I'm really going to want to add to, I'm not going to be able to roll on a D6. So that's going to be the next spell I get, but I didn't want it right off the bat.
The Hex Rates have 2 wounds, right?
Yeah.
So you might be able to get 1 to 2 on average.
Yep.
So that's still not bad because, bringing a Hex Wraith back is legit.
It's tight. Legit. Yeah. I mean, they have 3 wounds. I'm sorry. They have 3 wounds.
Oh, they do?
The Dreadblade Harrows have 3 wounds. So those
Hex
are
at 3 wounds now?
Yeah.
What? I didn't know that. I guess I didn't look at them that closely.
Hex Wraiths, yeah. They got good. And the difference between Dreadblade Harrows and Hex Wraiths is Hex Wraiths have a 2 control, Dreadblades have 1, but of course, Dreadblades are considerably better in combat. And they have their curses and what have you. And meanwhile, the Hex Wraiths, all they have is their Spectral Hunters. So if they charge, you roll a D3 on a 2-up, you inflict that much mortal damage. But doing that potentially every turn, you whittle stuff down.
Yeah.
You whittle stuff down. And that's what this, a Night Haunt army is death by 1,000 cuts. It's not, this thing comes and slaps you in the face and now the game's in my favor.
Yeah.
No, this is more of I slog it out with you. This obviously army is going to just fall apart when they run into Maggotkin or something else like that, but they still have the original Night Haunt things to fall back on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it will play a lot of fun. There are some synergies, not a whole bunch. My manifestation is the Shyish Reaper.
Okay.
I know I wanted to avoid, and if I was ever running a Path to Glory campaign, I would make a house rule that your first manifestation has to come from inside your faction, not from outside.
Agreed.
That way you're not purple sunning and, at 1,000 points, you're purple sunning or doing all the other shenanigans that you can do. By having the Shyish Reaper, A, I really like the look of the model, and B, set up a Shyish Reaper wholly within 9 inches of the caster, and then it just goes off and does its own moving and charging and Vegematicing things and requiring the enemy to, it adds a unit to your army. And they have to be dealt with, because if you don't and you let it continuously charge, it's going to be doing serious damage. It's a good endless spell or manifestation. Sorry. So it does serious damage. So that was my list. That's my thoughts behind it. Oh, by the way, the Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed is on the warrior path. And because he's automatically aspiring, he took the Berserker, which is reroll charge rolls for this hero.
Yes.
He's a knight on an ethereal steed. I don't ever want to get messed over on a cavalry charge. The other effect I could have taken was heal D6 on this hero, but since I gave him the... Oops, where is it? I gave him the light shard, so he's not only going to be healing from the blade built in, but he's also going to be healing and then potentially healing again.
Yeah.
So I think keeping him topped up on hit points, I mean, he could get wiped out in one turn, but, he's got 7 wounds. He's not going to get wiped out on a D6 roll.
Right.
So anyway, that was my list. That's my thing. It comes out to 990 points.
Yeah, I found I could never hit 1,000 right on the nose.
No, I couldn't even come close.
Right. So, so get into mine. So switch over here. This is my Skaven list. I called it Molding a Master. So this one, I looked at so many different lines of like play with the Skaven armies, right? And I was like, well, what if you played straight out the box? Was that as fun as what you want to do? Like, what would I really want to do? And I was thinking back to all the new models coming out and how like the molder specific models really like sang to me.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Okay.
We're going full on molder.
Nice.
Right? So we are in the, I have to pull up the name of it. Faction pack, battle formations. Flesh Meld Menagerie.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Which, it's prize creations. So once per turn in your hero phase, you pick up to 3 friendly non-hero molder units to be the targets. And you roll a dice for each target and apply the corresponding effect. If you roll a 1 to 2, they take D3. If you roll a 3 to 4, you add one of the attack characteristic of melee weapons.
Oh boy.
And if you roll a 5 to 6, in addition to the effect of adding 1 to the attack characteristic, they get a ward of 5+ until your next turn. Right? So I was like, okay, that's a good place to start.
No.
Then
stop that.
I did that. So my general, this only has 1 regiment, so it's a 1 drop. And I'll tell you what, the idea behind this was big freaking rats. Right? Monstrous rats.
Abominations.
Right?
Yeah.
So, my general is a master molder. I've named him
Makes sense.
Weird Claw, the angry old rat. Of course, their quote realm they hail from is going to be Blight City, right? Then, as the general, I gave him the Warpstone Charm as his artifact of power, which is any combat phase. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. On a 3+, you subtract 1 from the save rolls. Why is that important? You'll find out soon. Other than just being good. And his trait is Skilled Manipulator. He has a ward of a 4+.
Nice.
And then anytime he makes a successful ward roll, you allocate 1 damage point to a friendly non-hero Skaven infantry unit within the unit's combat range after the damage sequence for this unit has been resolved, and ward rolls cannot be made for those damage points.
So you literally use your own guys as meat shields.
Yes.
You are so sick.
I am. I am. And you want to talk about meat shields, right? I gave him the Path of the Leader, which is... I chose the Tactical Acumen, which gives you free redeploy once per battle.
Love that.
At 1,000 points, when I'm dealing with big fat rats that are just there to chew you up and spit you out, that could be very helpful.
Yes.
Now I did put my future stuff on there, so for the units in the future, once they level up, they're all getting Path of the Attacker. Because this army is, aside from the shooting you get from one of the units I'll talk about in a second, it is all just throwing meat at the enemy.
Yeah.
Big tough meat that kills good.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's what it looks like.
Speaking of that, we have the Hell Pit Abomination, also known as the Beast.
I will not play against that army. Those things give me nightmares
You still
to this day.
Yeah, you still have the PTSD from it?
Yes, I do.
Hell Pit Abomination is the Beast. Then I got a pack of, reinforced rat ogres. So we got 6 rogers. I call it the Shred Pack. So that's your main wall of meat.
Yeah.
That's what's barreling down at the enemy.
Sure.
To just put the hurt on. And then the last unit is Storm Fiends. 1 unit of Storm Fiends, the Gun Pack. We got 1 Doomflayer Gauntlet. We got 1 Rattling Cannons and Clubbing Blows. And then we got Clubbing Blows and Warp Fire Projectors. So that's the loadout. I went for them.
There's your shooting.
Of course, you get the Gnaw Holes as well.
Well, of course, yeah.
And for those who don't know, the Master Molder has 2 in-baked abilities that are ridiculous.
Just a little.
End of any turn, Lord of Flesh Grafting. Pick another friendly Molder unit wholly within 13 inches, heal 3.
Nice.
And then in your charge phase, you have Tyrannical Packmaster. Pick another friendly Molder unit within this unit's combat range to be the target and add 2 to charge rolls.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is all about getting a bunch of angry rat flesh and blades and horrific, abominable things in your opponent's face.
Nice.
So when I was looking at doing Skaven, I thought, you know what? Let's look at Elite Skaven.
Yeah.
Because so much like Skaven's like, well, I need to have my, 3,000,
Mobs,
rats. And then, but I was like, what if we just went Elite, And the Master Molder as the Path of the Leader, right, works so much better because he's just a support piece.
Yes.
A really good support piece.
Yeah.
But his whole thing is trying to get the big, angry, ugly nasties in the enemy's face. And that's what this list is trying to do. You have so many wounds just sitting there. Because if we look at what the Rat Ogres alone, they have 4 wounds each. And you got 6 models. So you're looking at 24 wounds that you can heal.
Not easy wounds to take off either.
Yep. They also have their gun too. I forgot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a little pistol.
So it's a shooting list.
You know what? Yeah, 2 of the units shoot.
Hey, that's all you need.
Right?
It's a shooting list.
And of course, the Hell Pit Abomination is just so fun. I mean, it has the opportunity to not move that quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's D6 plus 5 inches. But hey, that's part of the fun, right? That's just what show business is. But
well, it's a 6-inch move. Everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
So,
for like a monster that size, you kind of expect a little bit more movement, but not complaining too much because, when you upgrade it to Path of the Attacker and do the Battle Fury, you get run and charge.
Yeah.
So 2d6 plus 5 and then a charge. Yeah, it's going to get across the field.
Yep.
At 1,000 points, I'm pretty scared of the Abomination. I mean, it's got 14 wounds. Its attack is, 13 attacks. Because it's gnashing teeth and flailing fists. 13 attacks, 4 to hit, 2 to wound, 2 rend, 2 damage. Mm-hmm. Anti-infantry plus 1 rend. So holy crap.
Nice.
But it's also companion, so you can't, plus 1 it unless you do the other thing there. So I forgot it heals D6 every turn too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a lot of meat. It's a lot of healing. It's just go beat face, have fun, and say rat words at people. So that is me attempting to mold a master.
Nice.
Bill, what's your next one?
My next one is a Daughters of Cain list with the Daughters of Cain coming directly from the city-state that I built in Gur. And I keep theming all of my Daughters of Cain stuff around that. So it limits what I can choose and pick from, but I'm okay with that because I got the things that I wanted to have in this. So the army name is the Greenheart Coven because that's what they're called in my city-state. Of course, they come from Gur. Their battle formation is going to be Skaith Coven, which is pretty standard, I think. Mm-hmm. Unmodified charge roll for a friendly Melusai or Kinnerai 8+, they get strike first. I don't have those units in there, but I actually am probably going to change that to Shadow Patrol.
Okay.
So that I can roll a die on a 3-up, remove the unit from the battlefield, set it up again 9 inches away. I will probably switch over to that just because I changed the focus later as I realized I don't have that many Melusai.
Yeah.
So my warlord for this is a head queen on foot, since I can't buy any of the cauldrons because they're a little pricey.
Right.
And they're over the 300-point limit.
Right.
Which is, I guess, really good because that would be sick.
It would be sick.
So the Hag Queen, she is, of course, a priest, so that gives me access to the priest lore. Mm-hmm. She is aspiring, and she took, for her initial, let me see here, let me flip to that page. Under the Path of Devout, she took the Focused Meditation, which gains her D3 ritual points.
Gotcha.
That's just, okay, that's fun. It's only in deployment one time, but it gives me a leg up, which you always want if you're doing, I don't know, the quest, which I'm doing. And the other one was Divine Blessing, which gave her a ward of 6 up, which incidentally she already had. So why pick that? Okay, and then with her, as her second in command, you have a High Gladiatrix. That is just such a great unit. I mean, she wowed everybody when she first came out, and she's still wowing them under these index cards because she still has the pick an enemy hero in combat with this unit, roll 2d6. If it exceeds the health characteristics, it's automatically destroyed. So, yeah, take your warlord and go away. She's just bloody brilliant. As well as any combat phase, she has the ability to pick a Daughters of Cain elf non-hero infantry unit, and you roll a die on a 2 up, add 1 to the Ren characteristic of their melee weapons. Thank you very much. I will do that.
Yes, please.
Yes. Now, in the warband itself, I have a unit of Sisters of Slaughter. It's a 10-person unit, and they are armed with the bladed bucklers so that if they roll 6s on the save, they do wounds back. And, of course, they have the Dance and Diversion, which subtracts 1 from hit rolls that attack them. That coupled with their 5-up save and the Gladiatrix giving them all the bennies, they're just fun.
Right.
They're just flat out fun. I have a unit of Witch Elves with... Where did they go? I have the unit of Witch Elves with the paired Cianza. That just gives them... add 1 to the Ren characteristic, so it gives them Ren 1. So each one of them 3 attacks, 3 is to hit, 4 is to wound. I have kind of a almost baked in +1 to wound. So 3s and 3s, Ren 1, 1 damage. It just makes the Witch Elves kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they're another unit that can seriously benefit from the Path of the Warrior, like you were talking about. I took the obligatory Doomfire Warlocks because I need something that has some serious speed. And they do. They have the 14-inch move. They have a 5-up save. They only have 3 health each, but they're also a wizard, which unlocks the wizard path for me. And I like it. And when this unit uses a redeploy command, if you roll a 1 to 3 when determining distance they can move, you use 4 instead. So they're always going to get out of combat. They're always going to get out of a bad situation and be able to charge again.
I dig it.
So I like them. And then because I wanted something that shot things, I went with a unit of Bloodstalkers, which is the only Melusai in the whole mix. Everything else is elves, but these guys give you that nice 18-inch shooting.
Yeah.
Love it. And if they didn't move, they're even better. They score crit hits on 5-up instead of 6. So just gorgeous. And their crit ability is auto wound, which is devastating.
Yes.
So
yes.
And then and this is probably a dumb choice and a waste of points, a lot of points. And it's probably a waste, but I took the Avatar Arcane. Only because it just makes thematic sense with my unit in the backstory of the city state that I have built. So it just makes sense for that to be there. It's a crappy monster. It is not good. It has 7 health, a 3-up save, but it's not good. But it's in the list, and I don't have to buy it later on. So
there you go.
And I can buy other units with my points. And luckily, a lot of, like, when I want to get more Witch Elves, they're only 110 points. I can realistically do that in a couple of games. Maybe, it's the way points are handed out now. It might be 3 games before you can add a unit to this, but everybody's going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly worried about all of that. As far as my Arcane Tome for my Wizard lore, go figure, Mindrazor. I mean, did you see anything else coming? Mindrazor all day.
It's supposed to be narrative, Bill. Why are you min-maxing? Goodness.
Yeah, I know. I'm just such a jerk. I have Doomfire Warlocks casting Mindrazor. This is not Marathi Kane. However, the fun comes from the prayer lore that goes with my warlord because she's a priest. And remember, she gets an automatic 3 at the beginning of the game. And she took Sacrament of Blood, which is only 5. So realistically doing it on turn 1. You pick a friendly Daughters of Cain priest to chant the prayer. Pick a visible Daughters of Cain unit within 12 to be the target. Roll your d6. The effect is, until the start of your next turn, add 1 to the current battle round number when determining which effect of the Blood Rites ability applies to this target. Now, if the chanting roll was 10 or higher, which I would probably save my points to get, then until the start of your next turn, treat the current battle round number as 5 when determining the effects. So basically that from turn potentially 2 onward, I would be able to have a unit, or at least for a turn, that is functioning at battle round 5.
Right.
Which I think is really, really good. And my manifestation, just because I love it so much, I took the Blood Rack Viper. I mean, how can you not take that little cute fella?
Oh, it's such a beautiful model.
It is, and he gets 3 attacks, 4s and 2s. Rend 1, 3 damage. He's anti-hero, so he gets +1 rend, and he crits on Immortal. So, plus, he gets to pick an enemy infantry hero in combat with this manifestation. Roll a die on a 3-up. The target has strike last. That can be life-changing when you're trying to take out a hero.
Yep.
And, I mean, this he's better than the Avatar Cain. He's got 10 health, only a 4-up save, but he moves 9. He does banish on a 7, so you might have to be casting him quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I figured the Doomfire Warlocks, they're going to be alternating between putting this guy back into play and mind razoring something that they're in combat with.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, only having one wizard is going to be a pain, but I intend to add another wiz as soon as I can.
Yep.
My enhancements were going to be, let me see, for my Warlord, I took Bathed in Blood, which, I get to heal 3 if the unit is in combat. So I expect her to be in combat quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be her job. So I expect that, I don't know, she's a little, with only 5 health and a 5-up save, she's going to be very squishy, but I'm hoping that she'll last long enough for that to go off.
Right.
Now, then the High Gladiatrix took the Crown of Woe. Do you remember why I gave her the Crown of Woe? I remember now. You subtract 2 from the control scores of enemy units while they're within 9 inches of this unit. That's why I gave that to her, so she can actually take a unit of cheaper Witch Elves or Sisters.
Yeah.
Get on an objective and hopefully keep it.
Yeah.
You know, while I'm doing other things. But that was kind of the idea behind this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to go Snake Ladies. But in the lore as written, because of the local aversion to snake people, there aren't a lot of Melusai.
Yeah.
In this coven is actually based in the city, and they're not underground at all. They're very evident. In fact, they supplement the city guard. There's sisters, there's daughters everywhere. And the town basically accepts them because more than once they have turned the tide of battle in defending the city. So they are not just accepted, but welcomed. But people still get a little queasy when they see Snake Ladies. You know, let's face it, most of the rest of the town is human and commoner. They're not used to seeing basically monsters roaming around the city. So the Melusai don't have a large presence in the city. So that's why I went with the Witch Elves and the Sisters and the Gladiatrix and all that stuff. It just thematically, it worked better for what the city would actually have as war bands that would go out and do stuff. So that was kind of where, incidentally, she's on the path of the devout.
Yeah.
I think I already talked about that. And my first quest is, of course, to gain a priest spell. So, and that will probably be the quest I stay on until I get a couple of other units in there that I will want to go on the glory quest to get them pumped up a little bit. But that's what that army sits at. It comes in at 970 points. So not bad. And I think they'll play really, really fun. You have a lot of different things. Using the High Gladiatrix to me is going to be the key, the trick to that army, because she just makes everybody so much better.
Yeah.
And losing her early can be devastating. And one thing you have to understand, if you're playing daughters, everything you have is going to die fast. If anybody decides to kill one of your units, they're going to do it. You do not have defense. You are all about attacking and using her correctly and making sure that she's being protected by a unit of sisters or witch elves while the other one is out, scoring points. You have to make sure you use that appropriately.
Yep.
I really wanted to reinforce the sisters unit and delete the witch elves, but I figured I needed one more unit to be doing objective work. So that's what I went for. And the big weakness of the list is the Avatar Cane.
Yeah.
But I kind of locked myself into that choice by sticking with my city state. And it made sense. And the flip side of it is I'm not even sure I can take that because I don't have the cauldron for him to sit on.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I can even take him. I have to look into that a little bit more. I had some questions about whether or not I could take him according to the rules. It sort of looked like I could, but then I don't know. If I can't, then I will double up the Sisters of Slaughter unit.
That's fair.
And probably add another Witch Elf unit.
Yeah.
Because he's 190 points. So that would give me 220 to play with. So I could probably do both. So if I can't have him, I won't be hurt. But thematically, I wanted him in the list because it made sense because of the backstory of why the daughters are so big in that town.
Yeah.
Is because that's where they found the Avatar. And, they were like, oh my God, we have to protect this thing.
I like it. The narrative hook is great.
Yeah, just kind of tried to tie it into something that I already knew about. So Next up.
Yeah, so our fourth and final is going to be my
Magakin of Nurgle?
Oh yeah.
No.
Gloomspike Kin of Nurgle. What? So this is my gets list. I call it I just squigged myself. When I was looking at my options, my first thing was like Trogs. And I was like, I kind of just already did that with my Skaven list.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, let's do a cavalry list.
Oh, nice.
Right? Again, trying to steer away from tons of bodies, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, they are in the Squigalanche, which means that battle formation, whenever you charge, you get +1 attack to your bites.
Gotta love that.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it. Spell lore is lore of the Clammy Dank, and the manifestation lore is Dank Manifestations.
Just the names they come up with are so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they're dank as hell. I'll get to my Arcane Tome after I get through my units. So the general is a Loon Boss on Mangler Squigs.
Nice.
His name is Loon Boss Loon Attic, the Ravening, on top of Gob and Mug. He's a general. He has the Clammy Cowl, which means subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target him in melee, right? Little bit of protection there, considering he's a little squishy.
It's what you do.
And then story-wise, I had to go with this ability. He is loon touched, right? So my idea from these guys, they're from Gur, but that's not always where they are because the lunacy of the loon boss is so powerful that the squig cohort that goes around with him, they are also like seemingly infected by how insane he is. And it's always about following the bad moon, right?
Yeah.
But he feels like the bad moon's talking to him. And in terms of the story, and this is my dank manifestation, is the moon, right? Because at times when he cannot clearly see the moon, he can summon it.
Oh,
and so it's about being under the light of the bad moon, right? Which gives the squigs the ability to re-roll their random move characteristic.
Yep. Which is huge.
And so because he seems to be almost prophetic in the sense that he can summon the bad moon even when they can't clearly see it. They are all sort of infected by his insanity. And
I love it.
It's just a fun little hook there.
I love it.
He gets a unit of Boingrot Bounders that are reinforced. So we got a 10-man, right?
Nice.
I call him the Knights Boingend. Then he also brings along with him another Mangler Squigs, Tifi and Bitey. His lieutenant is Loon Boss Pointy End on his giant cave squig named Squeege.
Nice.
And then he has his own little bit of knights to help protect him. The knights pointy ended. So they and of course you get the Bad Moon Loon Shrine.
Well, of course. Yeah.
So the idea with this is just I love the squigs.
Yeah.
So who doesn't love it? They're just bizarre and all that stuff, right? And so they get to just bounce around and cause chaos.
It's just
and all that
fun,
right? And, you know, a little hook on there because I was like, well, I don't want to make another completely magicless or priestless list.
Yeah.
And so the hook with him, you know, being loon touched, I thought was pretty fun because it gets to like show the space you can operate in where you can have what should be no wizards and end up having a decent wizard.
Yeah.
So he's wizard 1, but I gave him, he follows the path of the mage and he gets +1 to his casting roll. That was the option I chose for him, which was the dedicated practitioner.
Yep.
And then I set out what eventually I would try and get everything for. It's a lot of like charging antics, running and charging, that kind of thing. You have a lot of mobility in this list.
Oh, God, yeah.
And so the whole goal is just to get to where you need to be. You may not necessarily hold it, but you've got the ability to back out and charge in, you know, in anticipation of that stuff. So slower armies are not going to be able to keep up with you.
Right.
I almost gave the general on a 3-up bounce out of combat.
Oh.
But I was like, oh, that was cancer back when I used to do that. So let's have a little fun with the loon touch piece, right? The quest is Master of Magical Lore. He's seeking to gain, you know, more spells that he can use. Oh, I forgot to say what his spell is.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second.
What's his lore?
I sat for a long time on this one because I was like, what should it be? Because like the Hand of Gork is such a powerful spell.
Yes.
But I was like, wait, he wants to be in combat, so he can't throw dudes.
Right.
You know, if they're stuck in combat. So I went with Sneaky Distraction as his spell, which is on a 7. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 for hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units while they're wholly within 12 inches of the caster. So since he wants to get stuck in, he also has the -1 just built in for himself.
Yeah.
But now he gives it to every enemy wholly within 12, so his knights can do the work that they need to do. It was just a fun little list to throw together. I went like much more elite in here, you know, than I did others.
Yeah.
I like the big monsters. I like the cavalry in this list. So who doesn't love throwing 2 Mangler Squigs around the battlefield with, you know, 15 knights and another little guy with his pointy stick, right?
I like it.
It's fun. It's really fun. I think that, and one of the things too, I was looking at the models I have too. Is like I can make this list. I need 3 more rat ogres to make the other list, but I have this list painted, fully painted and based, so I can just put this actually on the battlefield. It's just fun. It's one of my favorite things about the 2 armies I picked, Skaven and Gitz, is that they are just zany.
Yeah.
They're always zany.
And that's why you play Gloomspite, is because you enjoy that kind of random fun that you can have, which is, you know, the antithesis of high-end competitive play where you're trying to minimize that. Whereas at least around here, that's a lot of fun. That can be crazy. And it's still a good, strong list. So
yeah, I mean, starting at 1,000 points, you have some good games, you have some bad games, right? Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have a hard time with armor.
And you know, everything is going to be so matchup dependent.
Oh yeah,
you know, both of my lists run into Maggotkin. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. But then there's going to be other lists that they do really, really well against.
True.
So you know, give the daughters a nice horde list, you know, with lots and lots of meaty stuff, and they'll just go right through it.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's the way the game is played. That's the way it's balanced out across the board. So, yeah, more power to it.
And 1 second. Okay. So when it comes to making these lists, they're fun. I guarantee you, like, if you try these out in a narrative sense, you're going to have some fun. But what I think at least what I experienced when I was making these 2 lists, one, it was very streamlined.
Yes.
Right? I didn't feel like I had too many options or too few options when it came to making these narrative lists.
Yeah.
And even when it came to choosing the paths, right? Like you have your path for your general, and then I was planning out my paths from there.
For the other guys,
So where will this go from here? It was easy to do.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like, God, what about this or what about that? The 6 quests are very straightforward.
Yeah. You set a goal for what your thing is going to do, and then you build to that. It's so easy, and if you have a theme in mind, it's super easy to build.
Yeah.
If you don't have a theme, it'll start coming to you as you start putting units in.
Yep.
You know, and I think one of the big things that you look for as you're building any list, but mostly these 1,000-point limited path to glory lists, is you have to kind of look at where your synergies are going to be. And you don't want to take a unit that buffs certain units and then not have those other units available. You've just basically wasted points by not picking a leader that synergizes with the units you're bringing, or vice versa. Start with a leader and pick the units that they work well with. And, there's no one has ever said that for Path to Glory, you have to build a bad list, a non-competitive list.
Oh, exactly.
You can build a list that aims to win games, because flat out, the goal here is to win games. The objective is to have fun.
Yeah.
But you still want to win games. Otherwise, it becomes less fun, and you don't want that. So, you want to keep, as a player, you want to be able to stay engaged. And if you are running the league, you want to make sure that everyone stays engaged and has a good time. Again, why I would probably limit manifestations at least to your faction.
Yeah.
You can get some very crazy interactions with a lot of factions with the crazy manifestations that are out there. You can do some very unfun things to people in a narrative game, and the question at that point becomes why? Why are you here? If your only sole focus is to beat face, you should be at a tournament. You should be playing competitive players. So, but that does not mean you have to make lists that purposely are not good. Mm-hmm. There's nobody that says, oh, by the way, if you want to play in this narrative thing, your list has to be sucky.
Yeah.
I've heard of people going to narrative events, especially in the 40K world, where they don't allow named characters. And
Yeah.
Okay, in 40K, you can kind of get around that in a lot of places. And in some factions, it doesn't even matter because the named characters they're not that much better. But in some factions, it's really limiting. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you're just basically saying, don't have fun with your toys, mate. Mm-hmm. And that's not fun. Yeah. But it almost has to be done because some of those named characters are too damn strong.
Yep.
And it's the same thing here. They have a 300-point limit for a reason.
Yep.
That kept me from taking the Bloodrack Shrine, the Hag Queen on the Cauldron. And that's okay. I get that, because
it's okay.
At 1,000-point game playing for fun, that unit can be very problematic.
Oh, yeah.
So don't take it. So anyway, that's, I'm just looking forward to, the way they said every battle tome is going to have an Anvil of Apotheosis in it. Mm-hmm. So anything that we've just said is going to be overridden completely when that book comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Hint, hint, that could be as early as next week. Because, the News at 11 is out, and it's good for the Skaven people. But I really I cannot wait to see where they're going to go with this now that they've gotten rid of injury table stuff. And
thank God.
Gotten rid of terrain and all the minutia that was bogging down Path to Glory for no real return on investment. There was no, other than handicapping you going into your next game, there was no real fun in that system. Yep. It wasn't interesting in some way. It was just a needless drain on your resources. And then basing your ability to get units based solely on a random die roll as to whether or not you got the right terrain, that's lame. That's absolutely lame.
Agreed.
So it's gone. We don't have to worry about the battle days anymore. And we're there. And I think the idea here was just to show you how weird you can be and how different you can have some fun with your Path to Glory list.
Yep.
And it can be a lot of fun to just sit there and make 6 or 7 of these things and try and pick the one you like the most, because it's easy now. It's super easy. I love it.
Really fun. 1,000 points. You don't have a ton of weird little complexity. I agree that you need to keep with your, if your faction has a manifestation lore, you have to stick with it. You have to stick with it for purposes of narrative, because if you don't, again, you're getting into competitive play where you're going to get some craziness occurring. Yeah. I'm glad though still that it is limited to one manifestation at the outset.
Yes.
Right. And that's really important. You can eventually get to the point where you could be super high level powerful, right? But I think limiting it to the faction ones is key to making sure that it's a friendly environment.
Yeah.
And
you can always branch out from that, because there's a quest to get a new manifestation, and that once you get that, you can pick from anything. But at least everybody will be on the same foot at that point. And I still believe that if there's any one hole in AoS 4, it's the manifestations being free. It's literally creating a haves and have-nots, and it's just basically it's a win harder thing, and I think it has to be addressed. They don't seem to think so I'll just shut up, because probably as the battle tomes come out, there's going to be some reason for the way it is now. I don't know what that could be. I don't pretend to be a designer, but I do pretend to be a gamer.
But you play one on TV.
Exactly. I play one on the radio. And it just seems to me that it's too out there. You're literally telling the magic heavy armies, here's more tools to win. And the magic light armies are like, hey, screw you. You don't get to play in this part of the game.
Right.
You know, it's the old psionic phase playing Necrons. Yeah, no, I just get to watch you destroy my stuff. It's so much fun. So, again, I'm waiting to see another segue into what's coming next. I'm waiting to see what the first few battle tomes tell us about how manifestations are going to work going forward.
Yeah.
I don't like it the way it is now. I'm hoping they change it, but if they don't, we'll find out next weekend, because
Skaven pre-orders next weekend.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so Battletome Skaven. The cover of the normal book is baller cool. I mean, it is just, I like it better than the Gamers Edition, which I thought was the Collector's Edition. The Gamers Edition comes with the book and the cards, I believe. Skaven Edition, 61 rules reference cards would cover all the essential rules you need to play, as well as cards for your Spearhead Force, both armies and regiments of renown, kept in an envelope in the back cover. Oh, that's weird. Okay, interesting. So the battle tome's coming out, and then come Spearhead Skaven. Wow.
Yeah, that's already been out. Looks like they're just renaming it.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Oh, and yeah, and they're putting the new clan rats in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And the new Gracier.
Yep.
But the Lightning Cannon and the Storm Fiends are still what they are. I mean,
Yes.
the Storm Fiends have been amazing models.
Yes, ever.
Since. Vizek Scour, Big Granddaddy himself. Yeah.
Okay, that model is just sickeningly cool. I mean, oh my Lord. Wow.
Yeah.
Just the horns on that guy are so well executed. I mean, it's just like,
Check out the horns on this guy, huh?
well, I mean, they're just so nicely done. They're swept so that they're not in your face, look at my horns, but
Yeah.
they give it that air of, look, I'm a rat of unusual size. Oh, Wesley. It's just evocative of, you look at that model and you go, Jesus, that thing is strong.
Yeah, and I like the lack of oh my God, I'm losing the word right now. The horns aren't the same, Bill. They're different and moved at different angles.
Yes.
And one's broken in some place, the other's not. It's
Yep.
not like a perfect parallel on both sides.
No, there's a lot of asymmetry here.
Yeah.
They're just gorgeous. The whole model is ridiculously good. And the staff that he's carrying is, man, just the look of it and the way he's holding on to it. It's very reminiscent of the pose that Gandalf had. And,
Right.
you know, it's just, they captured, I think that model is lightning in a bottle. I really do. It's a very great model.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the high-level painter's paradise for a while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially since it doesn't look like that stuff. The symbology on his wrappings doesn't look to be painted on. I think you can do whatever you want on that. Or maybe they have decals or something. I don't know. But if that's completely a blank slate, people are going to have a grand time with that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Can't wait.
Yep. Next up
is Kritok Foulblade. He's the one who has the demon in his sword that he has to negotiate with and all that stuff. Cool little model.
Very cool little model, along with his little sidekick rat.
Yeah.
Carrying his stuff.
Yeah, it looks like he carries
the
sheath.
scabbard,
Yeah. I like it. The redone Arch Warlock, still looking great. I love the fact that you get, a custom base with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks great. It looks amazing. Warlock Galvaneer, this is the new one for us. Still don't 100% know what the rules are, but it looks like it's going to be electrocuting groups of people.
Mm-hmm. He's got some sort of warp thrower there.
Yeah. One of the 2 purchases I'll definitely be making this next week is the Master Molder. God, he looks so gross, right?
God, he is gross.
But he's got his nice little gun, but then he's got like the rat coming out of him that's loading it. Like it's just so gross, but cool.
Yes.
You got your Globadiers. That way you don't have to spend $15 per pewter model anymore, folks. You can buy them in plastic at $5 each.
Nice.
Warp Spark weapon battery. Just looks like a bunch of different Warp Stone weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Your Warp Grinder to sneak you into combat. Your Storm Vermin to have better infantry. All the Doomflayers look so cool.
They do.
They look so cool. And then another one I'll be looking to buy, the Brood Terror.
Oh, God. The 2-headed. Oh, my God. That thing is dumb.
It is frightening looking. Like whoever designed this has just probably had too many nightmares.
They had a bad childhood. Yeah. I'm pretty much thinking. Wow, they are ugly. Oof.
Oh, look at that too. The Claw Lord on Knob East, Giselles, and Rat Ogres are being broke out from the Skaventide box already.
Thank you.
The Warp Blaster will be out shortly, and then it looks like we're getting repacks for Bone Ripper, or Thankful and Bone Ripper and Plague Packs. So awesome, along with the cards and stuff. And then you get some made-to-order things from Middle-earth.
Bunch of Middle-earth made-to-order, along with the announcement of a new edition coming up here shortly. We talked about that last time, but yay. And then White Dwarf 504 comes at you with a Kill Team mission deck for Crew Mercenaries. Yay. I mean, no, that's awesome. Dawn of Fire Book 8, The Hand of Abaddon. If they had hooked me with that series, I'd be excited, but I'm not.
Isn't it pronounced Abaddon? Because he's a bad guy. He's a bad.
Yeah, he's a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't care. You say Abaddon, I say Abaddon.
I say Abaddon all the time.
Yeah, see? And then we have Dominion Genesis, which looks like a 40K. Obviously, it's a 40K novel. The inexorable advance of High Fleet Leviathan is left a lifeless husk populated by a handful of listless magi. So basically, they wiped out a Forge world, and this person is trying to do stuff. So, yeah, okay, interesting. And then in AoS, another book, Temple of Silence.
Yeah, it's just in paperback.
It's the Van Dents. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Van Dents, I mean, they're probably in my opinion, the best Age of Sigmar books that they've done, period. And particularly if you listen to them in audiobook, they are
really
so good. They are so good.
Yes.
And then you get your Salamanders Omnibus.
The Lords of Nocturne. Yay, I'll be buying that. So that's what's next week is really, really big for the AOS crowd. Yeah. And I would imagine the next couple of weeks are going to be lots and lots of Skaven.
Yeah, so I'll be keeping a lookout for the rules and stuff, particularly looking at how if they are redoing the Master Molder and to see what Terror does, because that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun week, and then when we get that book, we can actually sit down and analyze,
and really pull that Path to Glory apart and see where we're going. That's going to be the first time that we have the Anvil of Apotheosis and other things to look at and kind of see what road they're going down with Path to Glory. Hopefully, there isn't a terrain table in there. Yeah.
If there is, I'm just going to quit.
I will say thank you.
I'm just going to burn my models, and then I'm just going to go play Infinity.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, that was our coverage. That was just, a couple of ideas to get you started, maybe in how to think about putting together a Path to Glory list. And I think the takeaway is do whatever you want.
Yeah, and you have the full capability to. And like, it's so simple to do. You could just let the narrative guide you. Mm-hmm. What is your story? What is it that you're looking to achieve from the expression of this army, and just let it go. Cause it gives you what you need.
Yep.
It's not restrictive. In fact, I think you have just the right amount of choice. The paths was great to choose from. Once you figure out which one you're doing, even though it's sort of a binary choice, it still feels nuanced, right?
Yeah.
So it's a hoot and a half.
Yep.
It won't take you long. I mean, I think I solidified each of these armies in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes once
Probably
I got the idea.
That. Yep.
I was like, okay.
And the beauty of it is without a force org chart and without being limited into you must have 2 battle lines. No. Mm-hmm. None of those limits apply. So you take the units you like, build the synergies that you want or don't, and just go have fun.
Yep.
I love it. It's so freeform. It's so open, and the world is your oyster. Pick out a pearl.
Yeah.
So
Next time, likely, depending on how long the pre-order is, we'll be covering the Skaven Path to Glory. So I look forward to it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we have to say for this show today. If you are sticking around after dark, I can't wait to talk to you about my new video game.
Oh, I know. The music in the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and is used under the Creative Commons license. The Rolling Bad podcast itself is protected under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Information for this license can be found at creativecommons.org.